I received a call from Brother Mike on this Monday. His voice sounded very dejected. He's embarrassed, but
Mike Wallace's Daytona dream is over. NASCAR shuts him down in a shocking last-minute decision. But why was a veteran denied while others got a pass? And what the hell is going on? Let's find out.
lines are right. So Mike received a phone call from Elton Sawyer. And Elton said, Mike, we're disqualifying you, not just from the Daytona 500, but anything in NASCAR. And of course, Mike was upset, but nice, very nice. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Mike told me that he told Elton, we're friends, but can you explain to me why?
Wallace's racing resume includes 9 wins, split between the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Notably, 2 of these victories came at the iconic Daytona International Speedway, demonstrating his prowess on one of NASCAR's most challenging and prestigious tracks. His experience and success at Daytona made his potential return to the Daytona 500 particularly intriguing. The stage was set for what many believed would be the ultimate Cinderella story in NASCAR. Wallace was slated to drive the number 66 MBM Motorsports entry in the 2025 Daytona 500. At 65 years old, he was on the verge of becoming the second oldest driver to start the race, a feat that would have captured the imagination of racing fans across the country. However, on a Monday afternoon, Wallace received a phone call that would change everything. In an exclusive interview with Racing America on SI, Wallace recounted the moment. He said, I get a call at 4 p.m. ET telling me that I was not approved to run the Daytona 500. And not just not approved to run the Daytona 500, but I wasn't approved to run any NASCAR Cup race this year or Xfinity race or truck race. The news hit Wallace like a bombshell. He didn't hold back when expressing his reaction. Well, I think it's past heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's because I did what I knew or thought was appropriate in getting the proper clearances and everything. What makes this decision particularly shocking is the lead-up to it. Wallace had been diligently working to secure approval for his Daytona 500 bid since late December. He provided a detailed account of his efforts. These conversations about this started on December 22nd with the upper management of NASCAR, and I was assured everything was fine. And to get prolonged and stretched out, and then as recent as last Thursday, be reconfirmed verbally on the phone that everything was fine. The sudden reversal left Wallace reeling and questioning the process. He expressed his confusion and frustration. When you have staff members telling you they're happy for you and they're excited for you from the organization, there's some huge disconnect somewhere. To fully appreciate the impact of this decision, it's crucial to understand the extent of Wallace's preparations for his comeback. He had embarked on a rigorous physical training regimen, shedding weight and working out daily to ensure he was in top form for the demanding race. Wallace didn't just focus on his physical condition. He also invested significant time and money in meeting NASCAR's safety requirements. Wallace detailed his commitment to being race-ready. I had already throughout the year lost some weight. I went up to the gym and started working on a daily routine. I'm pretty damn tough right now, to be honest with you. My mental sharpness is there. I went over to the Charlotte Motor Speedway 2 weekends ago on Sunday. I had a 10:30 a.m. ET appointment per NASCAR's requirements to do the health fair and did the drug test, did the eye test, and did the physical test. His dedication to safety even extended to agreeing to wear a special data-gathering mouthpiece during practice sessions. This device would have provided valuable information about what happens in a driver's mouth during a race. Wallace emphasized his total commitment. I even volunteered to have my mouth scanned. I have the new mouth guard with the sensors in them that you would wear during the race. I committed to wearing them only during practice, but they gain data over a driver. What's happening in a driver's mouth during the race? You know, I was all in. The financial investment was substantial as well. Wallace spent $2,000 on a custom seat mold to ensure a perfect fit in the number 66 MBM Motorsports Ford Mustang. He also purchased a new helmet and fire suit to comply with the latest safety regulations for the 2025 NASCAR season. All of these investments now seem to have been for naught. But for Wallace, this race meant more than just a return to the track or a financial investment. It held deep personal significance. The 2025 Daytona 500 was to be a tribute to his late wife, Carla, who had passed away the previous year after a long battle with ovarian cancer. He said, "This race was not just about me. The Daytona 500 was not just about Mike Wallace. It was about my family, my kids, my grandkids today. It was going to be a race that I honored my wife Carla, who passed away a year ago. January 22nd will be a year ago. We have some cool pictures hanging around our house in the basement of her and me in Victory Lane. Whether it was Daytona or Talladega, she always loved going to those places. It was more of a storyline, and it was more of I kind of had the belief that for some reason this opportunity was dropped on me to do this race." The decision not only affected Wallace personally, but also had significant implications for MBM Motorsports. The team now finds itself without a driver or sponsor for the Daytona 500, a predicament that Wallace feels deeply about. He expressed his concern for the team. "Yeah, I mean, my side of it is one thing, and I'm sincere about this. I'm more concerned for Carl and his organization, MBM Motorsports. Look, back in December, they had a driver, they had a sponsor, and now the first part of January, the second week of January, they have neither." Wallace continued, "And if this approval process is as challenging as they made it look to me, who knows who they're going to put in the car or who can get in the car. I sincerely hope that his race team can find a driver that is approved and they can find funding that they can go and try to take all of the effort that has been put forth so far and continue to capitalize on it and get themselves into the Daytona 500. For them, I'll do everything I can to help them." The controversy surrounding NASCAR's decision has sparked a heated debate within the racing community. Many fans and fellow drivers have pointed out what they perceive as inconsistencies in NASCAR's approval process. The most glaring example is the case of Helio Castroneves, a four-time Indianapolis 500 champion who has been granted an open exemption provisional for the 2025 Daytona 500, despite never having competed in a NASCAR Cup race. This disparity has not gone unnoticed by Wallace. He pointed out the apparent contradiction. "All I wanted to do was attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500 with the hopes of making the Daytona 500, right? I wanted the opportunity to attempt to qualify for the Daytona 500, and they canceled that. They canceled me is what they did. They canceled me. That 2-3-year-old story about people getting canceled, well, they canceled Mike Wallace. In the same breath, they gave another person an honorary starting position in the Daytona 500. Guaranteed. Never been in one of these cars in their life. Incredible person, with incredible talent, but created an all-new provisional? The comparison between Wallace and Castroneves is particularly striking. Like Wallace, Castroneves has never competed with the NASCAR Next Gen car. Unlike Wallace, Castroneves has never actually competed in a NASCAR National Series event, yet Castroneves is approved for the Daytona 500 and even has a guaranteed spot in the field to fall back on, regardless of how he competes in qualifying and the dual qualifying races. NASCAR's reasoning for denying Wallace's eligibility centers on his lack of recent racing activity, particularly on intermediate and larger tracks since 2015. A NASCAR spokesperson told media outlets that Wallace has not raced on any intermediate or larger racetrack since 2015, leading to his rejection for Daytona consideration. The sanctioning body also cited Wallace's lack of experience with the NASCAR Next Gen car, which was introduced in 2022.
So Elton Sawyer told Mike that, Mike, because of your inactivity, you haven't done any racing in 5 years. So, listen, all I could do was be a supportive brother. I told Mike, I said, "Mike, listen, keep your head up high." I do feel bad for Mike. Mike is embarrassed. And what a bummer.
However, these explanations have done little to quell the controversy, especially when compared to other recent instances of veteran drivers attempting comebacks. For example, NASCAR allowed Morgan Shepherd to attempt to enter the Daytona 500 at the age of 72 in 2014. Similarly, Derek Cope qualified for the race in 2021 at age 62, 3 years after his most recent NASCAR start. The case of Derek Cope is particularly relevant. Cope's performance at Daytona in 2021 was less than successful, as the 62-year-old completed only 3 laps and finished 40th. Additionally, a semi-viral clip of Cope almost wrecking the entire field in the second dual race raised safety concerns among fans about allowing drivers to hit the track, after years of inactivity. These precedents have led many to question the consistency of NASCAR's eligibility criteria. Some in the online NASCAR community claim that NASCAR is setting a precedent with this decision. Their theory is that if a driver such as Jeff Gordon, who has not entered the 500 since 2015, wanted to enter in 2026, he should not be allowed based on Wallace's example.